I've been secretly in love with our alpha for 5 years, convinced he was my destined mate until the day he gave my favorite roses to someone else right in front of the entire pack. Lysa, today I turned 27, and like any other healer, it was nothing special for my pack, the Crescent Pack. However, every year I convinced myself that Alphacade's feelings toward me would change, that he would notice me and claim me as his mate. I had loved Alphacade since I smelled his pine mixed with earth scent 5 years ago. I knew without a doubt he was my mate. However, there was something wrong with the mate bond because he didn't claim or reject me. I simply existed as a healer who would tend to a member's wounds, but that didn't stop me from hoping for Alphacade to fall for me. I decided to wear my blue floral dress and favorite flats, tie my dark and beachy waves hair into a high missa, and wear a little makeup. The pack may not care about my birthday, but what if the Alpha does? At least I was dressed well before I headed for my duty at the healer's clinic today. But when I entered, my heart stopped at the sight before me. A bouquet of pink roses meticulously arranged in a vase sat on the healer on duty's table. Pink roses were my favorite because they were beautiful and a symbol of deep love and loyalty in our pack. My heart raced when I approached the bouquet. Could Cade have remembered? Could he, before I could reach out, Kara, a healer, my best friend, and the only person who knew how much I loved Alphacade, sidled beside me. Is someone trying to court you? She asked with a grin. But when she noticed the roses, her facial expression looked confused. Wait, Lysa, those aren't. I held my breath, touched the flowers, and noticed the small card nestled among the petals. My fingers started trembling as I read the message in bold and cursive ink. To Tezid's with love, mine's Cade. My heart breaks. The roses weren't for me. They were for her minus Tezid, the former Beta's daughter, and the newly appointed war advisor. She had recently returned after years of studying and training in the UK, and it seemed the woman who caught Alphacade's heart. Lysa, I am sorry. I didn't know. I thought because you are the only one on shift today that, Kara whispered, while she placed her hand on my shoulder to comfort me. I forced myself to smile, feeling foolish for harboring such feelings toward an Alpha. Don't worry about it, Kara. I think I was just being ridiculous. Maybe that day I smelled him. I must have overanalyzed it. Kara looked at me with brows drawn with worry. Ridiculous, Lysa. No, you had every reason to think the mate bond. That was exactly how it should be. Alphacade for sure has felt it too. And if he didn't want it, he should have rejected you. Shouldn't have given you those looks every time he came here for treatment. I shook my head, choking from the lump in my throat and the pain in my chest. Looks aren't enough, Kara. I guess I had read too much into things that were never there. I was the only one holding on to something that never existed. The Moondutters would never make the mistake of being the only one to feel the mate bond. I am sure I had made a mistake. Kara's face softened, knowing that I had a point. She pitied me but had that fire in her eyes telling me not to give up. Mia had just returned, Lysa. Kider, she was the former Beta's daughter, but that doesn't really mean that Alphacade hadn't felt that mate bond maybe, but that doesn't change anything. If Alphacade had wanted me, he would have made it known, and Tezest, being the war advisor, would always be by his side, and I am well, just a healer. Just then the faint sound of voices approached and passed the hall outside the clinic. When I turned, it was Alphacade and Tanisht holding hands as they walked. Katie looked at Hass as if he were in full admiration, while Evsis was laughing at what Alphacade whispered to her. Kara grabbed my hand in a tight grip before whispering, Lysa, you don't have to stay here, let's go. Number, I am fine, Kara Professors, I'll just go on with my duties, I replied. But as the day went on, the wound inside deepened. There was never a moment that I didn't see the two sharing glances together and whispering like lovers. They made me jealous when I didn't have the right. That evening, Alphacade called for a special pack dinner, which I knew was not because of my birthday. As we took our seats, Alphacade stood at the head of the table holding the same bouquet of pink roses.